Hey guys, what's up? This is Boy Who Had 7. Thanks for stopping by and checking out this video. I am so excited about Avengers Endgame coming out tomorrow. Here's a video of 6 things you need to know before you go and watch the movie. Can you guys believe that Avengers Endgame comes out tomorrow? There's some of you, like my good friend Klaus in Sweden, who's literally seeing it right now as I am making this video. I'm so excited for those of you also in the community who've been able to see it already. But if you haven't been able to see it yet and you're going to see it tomorrow like I am, this video is for you. I had a friend of mine who hasn't had the chance to go back and watch all 21 previous installments of the MCU. And they kind of asked me, Matt, what are the things I need to remember? What do I have to go into prepared with to watch the movie? And so I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days. I think I came up with 6 good things that you need to remember. And the reason I'm going with 6 is because, of course, there are 6 Infinity Stones. And so I want to match those up together and have a good time doing this. If you're one of the rare people that haven't had the chance to watch Infinity War, or maybe you didn't pay attention to it as much as you should have, but you are excited about seeing Endgame, my first recommendation would be go back and watch Infinity War. Put it on the big screen, turn the soundbar on, and enjoy it, digest it, look at it, because we're getting part 2 of Infinity War and part 22 of the last 10 years of an amazing run by the MCU. So let's start off with the first thing that I think you guys need to know before you watch Avengers Endgame, and that is Thanos used the snap. He collected all the Infinity Stones and he snapped and killed half of the inhabitants in the entire universe. Half of our heroes have disappeared into dust. Half of the inhabitants across the universe are gone. But the thing I want you to concentrate on here is the Infinity Gauntlet is burnt and it looks like it took some type of stress or beating. It could even be that the Infinity Gauntlet is no longer useful. Now I'm going to go out on a tangent here, and I have this idea in my head that the Avengers are going to catch up with Thanos, those that are left. They're going to beat him because he's satisfied. He's killed half the inhabitants in the universe. He's good. He's lost his fight. He's lost his purpose. They may beat him, and what's going to happen? They're going to try to use the Infinity Gauntlet, but it has, because it killed half the inhabitants of the universe, it ran out of power. It burnt out. It's been destroyed. And this is going to get us to a time when they're going to need to use a time jump. They're going to have to go back in time somehow and try to find Thanos and stop him from attaining the Infinity Stones, or they're going to try to have to put them together themselves so they can undo what Thanos did. Now, that's just a theory, of course. I have no idea. I've been staying away from spoilers and from ideas, but this is just mine. I'm looking at the Infinity Gauntlet. It's burned out, and I'm just wondering how this is all going to play out. So, jumping off of that, the next thing I want you guys to realize is Infinity Stone number 2 is before you go and see this movie, you have to remember where everybody is at. We have most of the new Avengers are gone, but after the snap, we still have the old school OG members of the Avengers. So we've got Thor, we've got Black Widow, we've got Hawkeye, we've got Hulk, we've got Iron Man. And if you guys remember, Iron Man was left on the planet Titan with Nebula. Thanos stabs him in the side. Doctor Strange, he sacrifices himself and gives Thanos the Time Stone so that he will leave Tony alone, and he goes to Wakanda and he is able to attain the last stone from Vision and snap. And so you have a ton of the Avengers on Earth, and you have Nebula and Tony Stark, Iron Man, on the planet Titan. And so the reason I'm pointing this out is most of you guys have seen the trailer, and Tony and Nebula appear to be together alone in a spaceship. They may have tried to get away from Titan. Maybe during the fight it was damaged, but they're stuck in space and they appear to be stuck there together. So, and the rest of the Avengers are on Earth. And one last thing, if you guys remember, and this is huge, Ant-Man, at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp, he goes into the quantum realm, and as he's in there gathering some of the power so they can help out Ghost, what happens? everybody back home that's controlling him being in the quantum realm is snapped away into dust. And so that's a huge key. We have to remember that Ant-Man is stuck in the quantum realm. All right, so that's number 2. Idea number 3, and this is going to go off of what I just said, Doctor Strange. If you guys remember and you see him here, he saw millions. And I don't remember the exact number. It was like 14 million something different futures where the Avengers did different things to stop Thanos. And there was only one out of those 14 million and some odd that they were able to stop Thanos. And here's the thing, guys. When Doctor Strange saw all these things, it led him to giving up the Time Stone, saving Tony Stark's life, and being turned into dust. That's heroic, if anything is heroic. Okay, guys? He saw that he would be turned into dust. He saw that he had to give up the Time Stone. I mean, there's probably so many of those 14 million different futures where he used the Time Stone to try and stop Thanos, but none of those worked. There was only one, and if you guys remember it, he says, guys, we are now in the end game. That is where the name of this movie comes from. They are in the end game now, the one chance that they have to beat Thanos. Okay? So Doctor Strange heroically does what he has to do, even if that means him disappearing into dust. And what I want to point out here is he sacrificed this to save one person's life, and that is Tony Stark, Iron Man. Okay? I was having a conversation on Instagram with one of my friends, and we were talking about how much Iron Man has sacrificed in the last 10 years through all of these movies that he's in. When he first came out, I was like, I don't like this playboy. He's cocky. He's annoying. But after every movie, and we just went back and watched all the films again as a family, I came to realize that Tony Stark has been the one character that has become something different than what he started. And although his personality may be the same, his heart has completely changed. Of course, he takes a nosedive in Civil War, but he comes to realize that he was 100% wrong. And he changes his tune. And I think there's a possibility that we may see Iron Man wield the Infinity Gauntlet. So I don't know. Like I said, I have no idea, but I totally could see that happening. And so this end game is their one shot at beating Thanos. And I wanted to remind you that Doctor Strange saw all 14 million and some odd chances for them to stop Thanos, and all of them failed but one, and that is the end game. Number 4, guys, what the heck is going on with the Hulk? Okay, the Hulk is having some issues since Thor Ragnarok. He's been battling with himself. Okay, if you guys remember when the Hulk meets up with Thanos and Thanos gives him a butt whooping, it's like the Hulk is scared, like he doesn't want to come out. But in the comic books, there's a time where we get Professor Hulk, and that's when the Hulk and Bruce Banner are able to become one. And what I mean by that is usually it's kind of like a werewolf at night, right? The Hulk would come out and he takes over and he reigns supreme, and then when the sun comes up, Bruce Banner comes back to us, right? It's kind of that whole aspect. It's not that simple, and over the many years that the Hulk's been around, that's changed. But right now, we kind of see it that way. It's either the Hulk or it's Bruce Banner. Well, Professor Hulk is when both of these guys become one, and where you have the Hulk's power and strength and the Hulk's physical form with Bruce Banner's mind, where Bruce is able to 100% take over, but he still has the Hulk's physical appearance and his strength. And so I'm thinking we may see Professor Hulk. I don't think that the Hulk is scared of Thanos. I don't think that's possible. And if you read the comic books, in Thanos' quest, when Thanos is searching for the Infinity Stones and he's fighting Champion and he's getting the power gem from him, he mentions that he has always avoided fighting with the Hulk because that's the one guy that could probably give him a run for his money. When I watched Infinity War, I was shocked that Thanos kicked the Hulk's butt the way that he did. And I think if the Hulk had been completely in charge and there wasn't this whole battle internally between Bruce and the Hulk, he could have actually whooped Thanos, right? I really believe that. But, or if not whooped him, he would have held his own and not been whooped himself the way that Thanos did that to him. So there's this whole idea that these guys are battling internally, and I think this is going to lead us to Professor Hulk. Okay, so Infinity Gem number 5, guys. I want you to know that in the Infinity Gauntlet comic book run, Nebula, okay, Nebula is the one that stops Thanos. She's the one that takes the Infinity Gauntlet off of his body and puts it on herself and does some changing of what Thanos did during the snap, okay? So, in the comic book, Thanos has now beaten with the Infinity Gauntlet all of the heroes, the X-Men, the Avengers, everybody that showed up. He's just whooped their butts, and he's also taken on a whole bunch of the cosmic entities like Galactus and Fate and Chaos and all these people, right? So he's whooped their butts, and he's got them in a prison, and he decides, you know what? I have to become the universe if I want to. So it's kind of like Aladdin. He wants to be the all-powerful genie. So he leaves his body and becomes the universe. And Nebula, who he had as a zombie as part of her punishment for trying to stop him and not obeying him and trying to destroy him, she's been like a zombie chained to him and just around him. And earlier there was a blast because he gets angry. It shakes her from her zombiness, right? And she comes back to reality, and she sees Thanos' body just sitting there on the throne with the Infinity Gauntlet on, and she pulls it off of his hand and puts it on herself, okay? I don't know if this is going to show up in the movie, but I think it would be so awesome if somehow Nebula is the one that stops Thanos. And as you guys see here, this is the cover of the Infinity Gauntlet number 6. And I just think it would be so cool if Nebula does this exact thing, or if she somehow plays a vital role in stopping him. All right, guys, last but not least, I want to point out 2 things to you, and that will be it. Here we go. At the end of Infinity War, there were so many people disappointed with the movie, and I was just like mind blown. Like, how are you disappointed? And they were disappointed because of all the heroes that died. And I had to stop and realize that most people watching this movie have not read the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. And so I realized that they didn't know that the snap was coming, and they didn't know that a lot of heroes were going to die. So I'm sitting there in the movie theater watching this thinking, this is perfect. This is exactly what I always pictured it would be. But so many people were angry about it. So let me give you something so you can be prepared this time around. Both Chris Evans, who plays Captain America, and Robert Downey Jr., who plays Iron Man, have finished out their contract with Marvel Studios. This was the last film that they were contracted to make, and they have not made any new contracts with Marvel. Which means, guys, okay, spoilers if you don't want to hear it, here it comes. Both Captain America and Iron Man may end up dying in this movie. Now, that's a big may. They could ride off into the sunset. They could get sucked into a black hole. Who knows? But I believe that both of these characters may die in this movie. Having said that, in the Captain Marvel movie that came out a couple months ago, we were introduced to the Skrulls. The Skrulls are that movie takes place in the 90s. And so the Skrulls, I believe, have been on the Earth for 20 plus years and are going to show up in this movie and be a huge part of the next phase of Marvel Studios, or the MCU. So, I just wanted to make you guys aware that we're probably going to see something happen to Captain America and Iron Man. If Captain America or Iron Man goes out, I want to see them wield Mjolnir, which is Thor's hammer. It would be so cool to see Captain America wielding that before he is killed tragically. If it does happen, guys, and you're in the theater with me, I'm going to sob like a baby, so I'm apologizing now. But also the Skrulls were introduced in the Captain Marvel movie, and I believe it was for a reason, and I believe they're going to play a huge part in the next movie. And I think, honestly, when it's all said and done, guys, that we're going to see Thanos be defeated, but there may come a time when Thanos actually joins up with the Avengers, like we've seen in the comic books before, where there is a bigger and a more realistic threat in the universe. We've got the quantum realm being opened by Ant-Man, which means Annihilus, who is like the cockroach king of the quantum realm. He could be coming out. We've got Skrulls. We've got cosmic characters and beings. We could see Kang the Conqueror, who is a time-traveling villain. I mean, there's so many people that could pop up. I'm just so excited about this movie. But hey, that's it for today, guys. I hope these 6 points helped you out. I hope they've got you ready for the movie. I hope you're hyped and excited like I am. And let's get together and talk about this after the movie, guys. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy the movie, and I'll talk to you later. Mischief managed.